What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. We're good to go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are right now in the world. I'm so glad to be here live with you, getting ready to take a look at the markets. What's going off today in the markets? What's the reason we're seeing all of a sudden risk pumping to the upside with Ethereum leading? I like to see risk on moves. I like when Ethereum is leading. It's a healthy risk on move. We're seeing the NASDAQ up 1.3%, Ethereum up 2.8%, Bitcoin up 0.9%. Did we have some earnings this morning? I don't know. What's the catalyst? Why are they saying we're pumping this morning? If anyone has any idea why we're seeing the dollar trade off 0.9%, 10-year trading off, yields trading off this morning, looks like a little bit of mean reversion is happening right now. I don't know. I just follow the charts, to be honest. I know that this is a big earnings week ahead. We got big tech. We got 46% of the S&P yet to report. Of the S&P that's reported so far, what are we, 50% beating expectations with good forward guidance? It's something to get excited about, in so much as that if we see the equity markets just rise a tad bit more from what they are, we're actually going to see massive inflows coming into the market. And then Friday, we begin to see buybacks, corporate buybacks entering the market. There's every reason to think that a bear market rally has the potential to get underway right now. And if it doesn't, this is the time to shine. If it doesn't, bad news bears. We were talking yesterday about the upcoming Fed pause, and there are evidently some people out there who think that the pause could lead to some type of next bull market. It was the first I've heard of that. I never understood someone to think that a pause, why it may lead to some type of rally in risk and maybe even to new all-time highs. Who knows? But to see or believe that it might lead to any type of bull market, that was a new one for me. And I guess that, you know what? You should be open to all possibilities. Is it possible that Powell has engineered the soft landing and is able to go ahead and turn? Look, let's just take it day by day. What I do think happens, though, is after they do go to a pause, it's going to be really, really important to watch the market's reaction. If the market is not able to put together any type of rally on a pause and instead starts selling off, that is going to be a really good, clear indication that there is going to be massive pain ahead, as we're looking at like this psychologically ingrained belief that 2023 is going to be a lot worse. Generally, what happens in a hiking cycle is the Fed is hiking into strength. This time, we saw 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. Obviously, the Fed was not hiking into strength, and we saw risk do something that it normally doesn't do. Normally, on the onset of a hiking cycle, risk, because the Fed is hiking into strength, is able to go back and make new all-time highs. That has not happened thus far. So you also have to wonder, well, maybe the economy actually is running hotter than expected, but it took people a little bit longer to realize. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into there. I don't know what's going to happen next, but we are going to prepare ourselves as we hear Stanley Druckenmiller talking about a potential sideways market for the next decade. I love Jurians over here making the 1940s comparison. It was a very different, big differences, but at the same time, the fiscal monetary cocktail between 1942 and 1946, right, turned into an inflationary hangover. That is what we're seeing right now. And he talks about how, well, we could be close to bottoming, but before the next bull market, that could be quite a while away. I want to start off. We're taking a look. Yeah, that's Vincent. There we go. One thing I saw overnight. Now, I didn't see the U.S. futures trading up overnight. Actually, when I woke up this morning, they were red. But overnight, we saw a massive turnaround in the Hang Seng, the Chinese stock market, which yesterday sold off about 4%. Last I checked last night, it was up 6%. A massive reversal. Maybe it was the plunge protection team of China, or whatever it was. That could have been the catalyst for a little bit of risk on. That's interesting. Thanks, Vincent. That's actually really great awareness. What is up, my brother? David, Ethereum right into local resistance on the live session. I hope not. And the reason I say I hope not is because CTM 2.0 is about to kick off, right? Is it about to kick off a buy signal? We'll look at that in a little bit. Doug, great to see you. Luke, a.k.a. Lucastus, great to see you all in here. Let's take a look at what's going on across the markets and get into a little bit of funness. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending the time together on this impromptu live session. And we'll start off with the chart we've been following, and that is looking at Bitcoin on the log. And just a couple of observations. The first observation is that we continue to be within the pinnacle of the pendant. Now, a lot of people are looking at watching this on linear. We'll look at it as linear as well. And they are watching or looking at what looks like a descending triangle. Here it looks like a pendant. I could see it coming off of the June lows and then just going upwards. For the way I've drawn it, it looks like a pendant. And then more importantly over here, I have this red line over here and this red line over here. I'm trying to buy time so I could pull up my brush over here. Hold on, let's see if we get that. All right. We're between the resistance and the support. The green lines are the confirmation, either a breakout to the upside or a breakdown. I have over here, or I drew in with you on Friday or Thursday, these red lines over here. That was for an aggressive entry. Price currently above it, broke out to the upside. After, by the way, holding, you see all the wicks down over here? Never closing. That was what we were looking for, a close above or below. Never closing below the red line. And then coming back into that no man's land neutral area. Breaking out over here on the over the weekend on the Asian Open over here, and then since coming in for a retest, and is now seeing if it could resume off. A resumption up is going to be closing or price going above this area over here coming in. Let me try to bring that back over here. Hold on, we're going to find the flow because I got some matcha with me this morning. Right around 19,600 above there will be a resumption off, and that would take price towards the mega resistance, the big green line, a break above that. Could that happen before the FOMC next week? Sure, we got big earnings. Earnings are going to run the market, lead the market. Don't forget, and it's a wild card, I have no idea what happens from here. I have no idea what this explosive week of earnings look like. If earnings are able to, like in the second quarter, come in better than expected, as well as expectations going into the fourth quarter, that's enough for the markets to go ahead and continue this bounce that they're in. That bounce has every possibility of turning into something more. Again, if it doesn't, then watch out because this is the time to shine. On the downside over here, it's easy over here. The aggressive side, if you're looking at the breakout of the aggressive red line on the upside, closing below the red side on the bottom, that would be, if I took an aggressive entry, that would be my cautious exit. Now, the confirmation on the downside, again, is going to be the lower line. We continue watching what's happening as that develops. Let's take a look at that on the linear as well. And in linear, actually, well, look, people were telling me, I didn't know until just now, people were telling me that they're watching what is like a descending triangle. And I have the slope of the descending triangle over here, but I have a wedge. So I'm sorry, if someone was making it off of like a horizontal line like this, do they get it? Do they got it? Yeah, look, you have a touch into there, the wick over there. I see it. It's actually really good awareness. I could go with either one happening. You could be seeing a descending triangle. Again, breaking down. Watch out. That's bad. This is the opportunity. But I think that actually that you could also make the case, or I've made the case, that we're looking at a descending wedge. Either way, the lines are still basically the same. I'm following the lines off the log. Let me show you where a confirmation would be. Right now, we're at around 18,600. I want to see where the confirmation would be below there. See, that would be an early entry. I like that. So confirmation on the linear is going to be a little bit below that area. It's going to be below 18,000, you know? So I think that's a little bit late. I think I'll be earlier on that one. I'll be happy about it. The DXY is interesting. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to also show this view also. I like checking out multiple views, many views over here. And this looks like actually the bottom, very close to the bottom that we saw last summer, right? Very similar in structure over here. We had, this was a descending wedge breakout. That just went into resistance though. never went everywhere. We came in and we've tested the bottom, right? Here's the bottom being tested. And then we had a nice trend line breakout to the upside, and it's just going sideways. It's anyone's guess what happens from here. Don't forget, we are still in the middle of what I'm viewing as the pendant. So I'm going to show you this in 1 second. Let me just check out the DXY over here. We're seeing the DXY doing a bit of mean reversion. It's coming down towards this confluence of area of support. It's right around 110, the whole number. It's that trend line highlighted in white. And then you could also see that green line if you extend it. This is where we caught the support, right? Price did wind up bouncing. And since then now this is still mean reversion. To see a breakdown on the DXY, we still got a ways to go. The earliest breakdown we would see on the DXY right now is coming in right around, let's call it 109, underneath this yellow line, but I'm also watching at the same time that horizontal support area. It's going to be below 109, and then the real test, we'll highlight it later, is going to be below that horizontal line over here. I'll make it a little bit brighter just so you could see it for this one. Right over there. That would signal to me that, all right, now we might be seeing the end. I want to take a look at this. I'm calling it an early trend change indicator. I'm going to take a look at, let's look at the DXY though first before we look at it on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Yeah, it's not too far away. So by the way, you all remember, right? You all remember because we did this here at CTM. When we were very extraordinarily bullish on the dollar. This was in late 2019, early 2020, including holding that bullish dollar bias through this massive fake down before the dollar milkshake theory and the shortage of dollars hit the market. But over here, this is where we dropped that bullish posture. Right over here on this candle, that was actually, right? This is showing here the 27th of May. That's exactly where we dropped our bullish bias and we went into this major downtrend on the dollar. Now, a lot of people held on to their milkshakes this whole way through. They held on to their milkshakes, and then like when price came back 2 years later, they were able to be like, oh, look, of course, I had it right the whole time. That's a long time to be on the wrong side of the market. There's no question about that. But watch what's happening over here. I'm looking at the bottom at the indicator alone. And you can see over here, this is an early trend change indicator. That's the way I'm viewing it, which means you're only looking for when you're seeing the trend change. Trend is defined by either the true trend here being above the zero line or below the zero line, green or red. In this case, it's an uptrend. This uptrend was going on for quite a while. By the way, here's one, here's two. Small opportunities didn't go anywhere. On this one over here, it winds up catching it, right? You all remember here, now we're in this downtrend. You all remember technically how we took over here. This was Will's first line over here to the breakout to the upside. It wound up being the best because it never got stopped out. And you can see the first poke above over here. And then you remember over here, Raul's inverted head and shoulder. This one coming over here on the upside. This one again, going nowhere, right? When you look to take, Paul Tudor Jones says it best. The most money could be made on the turn, on a trend change, but you have to be able to take the most and smallest losses, right? The turn is the hardest to get. The most money, the most opportunity is there, but you have to be willing to put out many different feelers and have those tight stop losses until you get it. Here you could see that this is just having fun together. Looking at the trend change, the next opportunity. One opportunity doesn't go anywhere. Two opportunities doesn't go anywhere. The third... What do we got? One opportunity doesn't go anywhere. Two opportunity doesn't go anywhere. Third one over here is still alive. You can see that trend is healthy, right? So you're catching the turn before the trend. The trend is still down, right? But you can see the trend change. This is the early trend change turn, right? And then riding the trend as it becomes happening over here. A breakdown of that trend over here, the first opportunity for a feeler to the sell side would be right around, let's call it 107, 108, right around the levels we just picked out manually. Now, I was viewing this, having fun on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, and I want to talk about that with you and why I'm saying or pointing out that we are closer or more closer to February 2019 than we are to November 2018 when we saw that massive capitulation and leg down. Now, the other thing that I started this session out with you today was talking about that, well, we have some expectations going forward from here in the markets overall, right? And that is not that a pause leads to the next bull market. Ideally, a pause will extend the cycle out further, meaning that like Fed pauses rates and the economy kind of still chugs along, and then we're looking for it to weaken, or expectations are it will weaken out into 2023. And then at some point in 2023, because of the weakening economy, this is how the Fed's own dot plots have it, they're going to have to start cutting rates. Now, what would be a very negative scenario would be that the Fed moves towards pause, whether or not it's, the last hike is in December 2022 or into early 2023, but they make their way and they get to a pause that the market doesn't fall out the bottom. And then like we see job layoffs, we see just people are not spending, companies tightening up, people, the consumer, are afraid to spend money. And then you have to see the Fed begin cutting rates rapidly and quicker than expected. That would be a very bad scenario. It could happen, which is why the pause will become so important to watch how the markets react when that opportunity does arise. You want to be ready for both sides, but expectations by some people, when I talk about some people, I'm talking about Stanley Druckenmiller. And I've looked up to the guy for a long time. So when he says something, not that I believe him, but I'm paying attention. And he says, you know what? We could be looking at the markets going sideways for quite a while. I've seen a lot of analysts pick up on that since. A lot of people giving past comparisons. Not Jurian. Jurian's is totally different. But he's not talking about a decade. But he's saying, well, for the next couple of years, few years even, we could be going sideways. Do you have a plan? Right? Do you have a plan to do that? But first, let's talk about what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum in that relation to February 2019. And the way that I'm viewing that is the first thing that helped me see it was using this early indicator. Now, I think it's easier to see what I'm about to point out on Ethereum, but I'm going to start with Bitcoin. And then we'll look at Ethereum. That's how we're going to do it. We are a little light on likes this morning. If you enjoy being here live together, just go ahead and spread a little bit of love. Go ahead and just pop off the thumbs up over here. Spread the love, show the love. It gets me a little bit of, let's say, energized to keep going. All right. That's right. 2000.com bubble crash took a while to recover. We've seen it happen across markets. It could happen again. The Nikkei, right, off of the early 80s is another market index that went sideways for over a decade. They call it the lost decade. There we go. I was waiting for a couple of bit of likes. Thanks, JN. Ghost0319. Appreciate the love. Love the love. Thanks for the love. All right, let me jump back. I'm going to show you Bitcoin first and what was going on, and then we will talk about Ethereum as well. And we've talked about what, as price is going sideways right now, currently on Bitcoin, it has reminded me, and of course I've seen now, it reminds everyone of what was going on back in November of 2018. And price was just going literally sideways. Just as price is going sideways at 19,000 right now, price was going sideways at 6,000. There were a lot of people at this point of the bear market who still believed that the bottom could be at about 6,000 and that like price was going to somehow, bottom over there and kick back up. There were a lot of market participants, but it truly did feel like hopium. Like almost everyone felt like their intuition was telling them no, but they just wanted it to hold. That's how I remember it. And you could see that this was a massive, very clear descending triangle. And it could break either way. It could have broke either way, but it did break down over here. We looked at the catalyst for that move down was actually Fed Chairman Powell giving a speech. And in that speech, you saw the market crash down. And then it bottomed as that last hike of the cycle, that policy mistake come in. But what I want you to notice over here is prices going sideways. And we looked at, by the way, how during this period there was no volume. We've looked at how in current time, in real time, we are seeing rise in volume. It is one difference. Here's another difference. I want you to look at the true trend, and I want you to focus on it being green. As price is going sideways over here, price is still green over here. And then on the capitulation, it flips over to red, right? And then you see at this area over here, this is in March, the first opportunity of price making that early trend change. It's a little different right now, what we're seeing. And it's different so much as it was on the Luna collapse. The Luna collapse back in May is what sent the trend change over here from that positive green trend until that negative trend over here. So we kind of remember, as price is going sideways here in 2018, the overall trend, as the way I define it, is still up. In this case, it's down. In the past case in 2018, volume was non-existent. In this case, it's rising. By the way, volume began rising over here in this area over here. This is when volume began rising. Volume's rising right now. If anyone takes this as like saying, this is an observation, it's up to you how mature you are to take it as anything more. And I'm just giving you different views. I myself, I don't know what happens next. And I myself, I don't care. I trade literally what is happening. I trade a mechanical system. It doesn't matter to me whether or not we break up to the upside or downside. Either which way, I'm going to be following the momentum and I'm going to take advantage of it. But I want to go ahead and show you, those that are using some type of discretionary technical analysis, a little bit of difference that are occurring back when so sorry, that's so funny. Thank you for that. A little bit of data in London here. I got it over here. I'll just take them out over there. There we go. So bringing it back, so you can see the difference that the trend is already down. And then we looked over there, it was like in March where we saw that first early warning trend change, kick up to the upside. We're getting close. If the way that we view the market over here, if we see a breakout to the upside, soon enough, we will also see the early trend change kicking off over here and taking it up to the upside. But I said it's easier to see viewing on Ethereum. So I want to view Ethereum with you as well during that particular period and then in real time. And just so you could see what Ethereum did going back to 2018. And by the way, we saw over here, right? Ethereum kicking down first. Hold on. November 2018. This is when Bitcoin made that leg down, right? This is when Ethereum made its last leg down and then the lower low. So you got a similar structure to what's happening in the market. This is May. This is the equivalent of May, where we saw Bitcoin and Ethereum make that trend change. This time it's happening in August. So I could say, well, that's similar. And that is similar. There's no question about that. So obviously that I'm taking both sides and just showing you what is absolutely taking place. And rather than trying to like fit my own view to the market, I'm trying to observe the market from all different vantage points in order to get the clearest picture of what is happening. Now we saw, so that's a different. On Bitcoin, you didn't see the trend change occur until the November 13th capitulation. On Ethereum, it's happened earlier, just as right here in real time in 2022 on both Ethereum and Bitcoin, it was in May. So that one is similar to what has transpired and taken place before. After that leg down, you saw, this is the November leg down, you saw Ethereum recover to the upside, come back in and test that breakdown. I'm going to just draw this line like this, right? So Ethereum was able to break out and come down and test, right? Bitcoin, why it came all the way back down as it did in real time today, Ethereum is touching the top portion of that. It's making a higher low. See the higher low that's taking place over there? And then it comes back up, right? And it just takes out the higher high over here, comes back down before starting to run up. So it wasn't on the first early trend warning. Now that was the best in that price did not make a lower low. But if you're taking a trend reversal, you want to get out quickly. So I would get out right away, right? Trade goes nowhere until you get to the second one. That takes off. That one takes off. I want to view that looking at real time right now, what's going on in Ethereum. And similar to last time, where that was in August of 2018, where the trend trade occurred, that one's the same. And then price came in and made that lower low in June. That occurred. Price kicked up and has come back down and is testing that area over here. So we're seeing if it follows any similar type of path as it did last time. And by the way, this one is elongated, where the other one was happening in a shorter time frame. It would be coming up to the 2000 area, taking that out, coming back a little bit, and then making it off. But do you see that we've already had one opportunity here at an early trend change occurring? The second one getting ready to kick off right now. I see it or view it at, well, mixed. In reviewing this here with you, I could say, well, it makes a lot of sense that back in the last bear market, Ethereum, it did make a trend change before the capitulation, right? And then it had a couple of legs down. That is happening right now in real time. Before the capitulation, we see the trend change, and it made another leg down. Anyway, that's the way I'm viewing it. That's the way I see it. And it's going to stop over there. But what I do see a lot of similarities. I think you could see it similar in Ethereum in the fact that it's coming back down, made that low, came up, and is retesting that low right over there. The same type of bottom action that we saw right over here. As the low was made, came up, tested that low, came back up again. This is I call it the true trend indicator, Dr. Jennifer, but it's with custom settings. So it's not something that's available. What else did I wanted to look at? And this is just a different form of it as well. You're looking at the true trend just as CTM style, the way it's viewed. And look, we're talking about, or I'll present this to you maybe tomorrow. I'll pick up off of that sideways price action that we're looking at and talking about what expectations are for some people going forward. And maybe that's going to look like something like moving sideways over the next decade, or maybe it's going to be over the next couple of years. And then I want to point out for you why those that trade off the daily time frame, what they could do to stay on the right side. And for sure, this is looking from 2020, right? To be able to stay on the right side and keep those profits is a big deal. Much more advantage trading off a smaller time frame over here. You could see also since 2020, and the difference between buy and hold is enormous. Now, everyone's an expert stage during a bull market melt up. Everyone feels that they could do, that, well, they're the expert. It's no problem. They don't really even need a plan. They could just kind of be out there and they could just implement their discretionary form of technical analysis. But really, it's difficult not to turn a profit or make a profit. It really happens, or where it really becomes difficult is holding on to that profit and being able to not only hold on to your profit, but being able to profit in all circumstances. It's also coming off the CTM 2.0 indicator, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to find a way to make that available to you. So we will do that. But that's it for today's impromptu stream, Craig, right? I didn't. You know what? That's interesting right there to say that that's happening on total as well. Let me go ahead and pull that up really quick. I would like to take a look at that. So I think you're looking at it from the last bear market is what you're saying. By the way, a couple of different observations when I'm looking at total. We have over here in the top, we're looking at crypto market cap total. Then we're looking at Ethereum in the middle in blue, and then Bitcoin orange at the bottom. Just interesting to note, as per past bear markets, we would see Bitcoin peak and then altcoins and Ethereum peak out about a month after. That happened into the April and May top. Some people view that as the structural top of the market, right? Some people do view April. Now, I'm torn. I'm in between. I've looked at it both ways, where price making the higher high in November, there's no debating whether or not that price made the higher high. It did by price. But structurally, there are many things that point to April being the top. Let me go ahead before I go ahead and look at that pattern you're talking about on the total. Just bring that up and illustrate that for you a different way. All right. And if you're viewing April at the top, I just do want to point out, that way we're just viewing everything from all sides, right? If you're viewing April as the top, and again, I pointed out just what we've seen in past bear markets, that Ethereum in the altcoin market would peak out after Bitcoin. And what's interesting is that we over here price capitulated X many days after the top in 2013, November 2013. Same thing in that same area over here from the 2017 top to 2018 in bear market. And you could see, or you could say, that are roughly around the same time, right, in this area. Is it potentially possible that around so many days after that bottom was in June? Now, look, I don't know. I'm just making observations. But what's also interesting is into that bottom, price moved down, well, 50% from the move up, right? Same thing over here in 2018. You're seeing price move down roughly 50%. And then again over here, same exact thing. Now I could line them up and make them look better, but I'm just going to go with these rough sketches right now. Or you could look at this, and rightfully so, and I think you should look at it both ways, is that, well, the price made the higher high in November. And by the way, just because you saw past bear markets play out over a certain time frame does not mean that this current one will. We talked about that the real risk comes if the Fed moves towards a pivot in policy, the Fed moves towards a pause, and you don't see markets put in any type of relief rally. We could see markets go down. This could look something much more similar to maybe the bear market of 2001 that was pointed out, into 2002 that was pointed out by someone earlier. If you are going ahead and you're lining this up from November being the top, you could say or point to that, well, actually we have still quite a ways potentially until we see some type of bottom. Now, what's interesting about this, if this were to happen and we saw a bottom early into 2023 even, that this would be coinciding with the ending of the Fed's tightening cycle. Don't forget, this bear market ended right here where my mouse is, right in this spot, on the last Fed hike of the cycle. The Fed is getting ready. Expectations are for a 75 basis point hike at the next Fed meeting. And whether or not that's the last one, the markets are not pricing it as being the last one. It's 50-50 right now, whether or not we see in December a 50 basis point hike or another 75 basis point hike. So, continue to be ready for anything. I guess that's the moral of the story. Let me come back over here and look at total and try to find out what was going on in that bear market of 2018. It's very similar to, like, the structure that I'm looking at is very similar to what we see occurring on Bitcoin and on Ethereum. I just want to make the one observation. This kick over here, this kick up of the bear market, some people view that, here's that massive kick, right? I guess on Bitcoin, it's a little bit earlier. Some people view that as this kick right over here. Price made a higher high. There's no question about it. But some people view it as the internal strength of the Bitcoin market, where you weren't seeing people that were holding on to Bitcoin selling. And because of that, it almost willed or pushed price up. But I get just pointing out that this move, it does seem to be a little bit similar to past bear market moves, only price in the past does not make that higher high. So that's it for today's session. All right. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Vincent, thank you for that. And thanks for being here. Thanks for the good vibes that you all bring in, right? Thanks for making this a place that we could really be able to look at markets and doing it in a way without being afraid to have different opinions, right? Whatever the general, like, people catch up to whatever the narrative, always a little late. We seem to be a little bit early often, not always right, but we have a good, strong history of being on the right side. But I like to be able to view markets from all different perspectives and then ultimately trade what is happening. That's what we want to do, is lose bias, but be able to embrace and view all different opinions. Everyone, thanks for being here today. I hope you all have a beautiful day. May God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon. That's the truth. That's the truth. It becomes but Vincent, people want to be right is because instead of having a trading plan, instead of taking the time to develop a strategy with an edge, they're just trying to be right. And it's very difficult. You're going to be right sometime, you're not going to be right all the time. It's much better not having to be right, but trading like the casino. You have an edge in the markets, and you go ahead and you're mechanically following that edge. Then you don't care about being right. You expect you're going to be wrong at least half the time. It's not about being right. It's about being disciplined, and it's about performing correctly. All right, if you didn't get a chance, please go ahead and hit the like button, show a little bit of love. If you watched this on the replay, thanks for being here today. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you soon, everyone. Have a beautiful day. God bless you.